graders. This week we're going to go ahead and start our cherry blossoms and do everything so we can paint our water, and that will be the last step on your koi fish. So if you look here, I wanted to show you some pictures of cherry blossoms. Right here is a pretty little painting one. You can actually Google them yourself. Here's a real cherry blossom, okay? So if you notice here, it's mostly light pink with a darker pink or almost red on the inside, and then maybe a little bit of brown even. And then if we keep scrolling, they're not usually white. But if you look at this branch, see how sharp these branches are, how fast they curve. They don't like slowly curve or anything. They just jut one way and then another. Okay, so we're going to scroll. I just want to show you some of these. Let's see. Okay, see how sharp these branches are? They just kind of zigzag almost. Okay. Just give you an idea of what we're doing before we get started. Be something kind of like that, really. Okay, so I don't know if any of you have noticed any cherry blossoms, but the last couple weeks might be a good time to have seen them. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started on this. So, on the koi fish, it's going to be like the koi fish is swimming in water where cherry blossom branches have fallen, okay? Here's the color choices I have, and normally I would use oil pastel for this, but since not too many of you would have oil pastels at home probably, I'm just going to give you kind of an idea of what I'm using here, okay? I have reds, lots of different pink colors. This one's even called salmon, okay? So it's a little orangey pink. I have sparkly white, I have regular white, I have black, I have a couple different browns to try. Okay, I just went through Sophia's crayon box for different ideas. All right. So for that, what I'm going to start with is the brown. All right, and what I'm going to do is you have to remember to leave space for your flowers. All right. So if you notice, I'm making kind of a branch. It's a little thicker towards the back end, of course, but it's all brown, okay? Then I'm going to take black and go on one side of my branch. They were kind of dark, had kind of dark bark, didn't it? So I'm just going on one side. I'm going on the left-hand side. I don't know if this is your right or your left, depending on what you can see on the video. But I'm going on the left side of this, adding just a little bit of shadow to that. Okay, and I can even take white let's see here. Okay, I'm going to take white and I'm going to go on the other side. And with crayons, since we don't have oil pastels, or most of you don't, I'm going to go on the other side with white. Obviously, you're not going to see it right now, and I'm pushing pretty good so that when I paint over it, it's still going to show up, okay? So I'm just going along the other side of that tree branch, not making a big sloppy mess. Okay, so I did that. Now I have to do my flowers. Lots of different pinks, remember? So this one's called Shimmering Bush. Maybe I'll try that first. Ooh, that's a pretty color, isn't it? Kind of a peachy color, really. I don't know if you can tell that by the light. Can you see that color? So I'm starting by making just 5 little petals, okay? All right. Then I'm going to color the petals in part way here, just part way from the edges. Then I'm going to take my white. I'm going to fill the middle part in, so it kind of looks like a star in the middle. Then I'm going to take red. Oops. Make kind of an X-y shape in there. Kind of like that. And if you wanted, you could even do, I don't know if you noticed, they had almost dots on them. I'm going to use a little brown right in the middle. okay? You could even do dots, like little red dots. I don't know if you can do them or not on there. I guess this one, you can kind of do it. Got to be careful, all right? So I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to do one of those really up close for you. That might work a little better, huh? All right. Oops. Okay. Here we go. There we go. Hang on a second here. Okay, so I'm going to try a brighter pink this time. And I would probably stick with the same color that you started with unless you really hate it. Okay, so I'm going to do another flower here. I'm going to make one loop, two, boy, that's almost too bright, I think, but it's awfully pretty. 3, 4. Okay, I'm pushing pretty hard here on the outside edge. I even went over it once. Okay, then I'm going to go lightly on the inside, a little bit, just a little ways. Then I'm going to take white and fill that little star shape in that's left. And I'm going to take red and make a red X. Kind of like that. And if you want, you can add a few little dots, okay, because they kind of have these cute little red dots in there. And if you really want to, you can add, oh goodness gracious, I'm being rough on these crayons. I'm pushing awfully hard. A little black dot in the center, okay? So after you do all your flowers like this, and you can also do a few little buds, okay? So, I mean, the buds are pretty easy. Like a teardrop kind of thing. Okay. You don't want leaves because before they get leaves, they get the blossoms, okay? So it's just the pretty pink blossoms that you'll see. And I can add more flowers and stuff to it too. I kind of like this salmon color. So you could add blossoms out here. Just because there's one gap doesn't mean you can only do one flower there. You could do a few. Or you could do a flower coming off the side of the tree, okay? And I'm going to do white in the center, right? And then red, X, and then dot, 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 dot. And I'm not even going to put brown in the middle of that one, okay? So you shouldn't have this gap here between your branches too much, okay? It should be pretty smooth like this. See how these are all kind of connected, except for right here. So maybe I'll do a few more little, and I can color them in a little if I wanted. Okay, that's a lot of buds, but you get the idea. You're going to do, you have to fill it in somehow, okay? So, I can't get it to zoom out here. There we go. I would do one down here, and then I would also do one maybe going from the other direction. I'm trying to make it so you guys can see this whole thing. So if this is my koi fish, is it zoomed out a little? There we go. But this is my koi fish. I have one coming this way. Maybe I could do one just branching up the side here a little. Oops. Okay. And I will finish that up for you as a demo and give you a second video to watch. And this is going to be this week's video, and the next video will be mostly next week's work. So you can do the flowers this week, and when I start the next week's video, I'll have the flowers finished for you. Okay, and if you want to go ahead and finish the next week's video, also you're welcome to, okay? And we'll finish the water and everything that time too. So this is part 1 of the background. Part 2 is also going to be on this week's lesson, but it's also going to be on next week's lesson as well, so that you don't have to do it all this week if you don't want to. All right? Happy blossom making!